It's quite quite an important thing. Like we take a lot of care of graphic representation always in projects. We give it depends on the project, but we usually take a lot of care. I don't know, for example, we do a lot of contests all the time. Every year we participate a lot in contests. So we usually work a lot in defining a specific like graphic strategy that is normally with color, but also with the, I don't know, kind of graphic code, also the kind of elements that we place in the representation. We usually tend to make things graphically as clear as possible. Like some time ago, we reflected a lot that normally in architecture, at least in our school, there was a tendency to do things very complicated, like only for technicians, or the plans, even the views became with a presentation with a lot of lines, hardly understandable, and we since some years ago we have a tendency to do like very simple things that can be understood by anyone. We think that for us it's a strategy that works, and we think it's quite important too, because it's not only architects or technicians. Most of the time, I don't know, you have to present the project to a client that it's someone that works in no matter what, or to a politician, or and also in the projects, like we have some projects in which we have worked with the graphics. You know, we did for example, a refurbishment some time ago, in which the only treatment of the facade was a big sign in color. Or we think it's like very cheap and powerful strategy to give identity to a building, or to communicate things of a building. Until now, because we are a small office, it's us that do everything. So, like we take, what we usually do is to take a lot of reference. Like I don't know, we work a lot with these pages in which you can pin a lot of things and make kind of a graphic panel, or I don't know. First we start talking, like we think that it could be like that. I'm interested by this, or there's a reference that is very interesting, so we look for other things and then we try to work on that, because we are not graphic designers, so we try to copy a lot or to do good copies. But then recently we have sometimes collaborated with graphic designers, for example, for the new website, for the logo, the colors and that. We have collaborated with a graphic designer. I think it is nice because they do much better. What we did is like we have this name for the office. We like this idea, but it was mostly her that proposed it us. And then we had some meetings and said, okay, this can work. Why don't you try this? Then she came with one thing that we liked, and then we evolved to think on different representations. I don't know, for the website, for the email, for the cards. But it's the only experience till now with graphic designer. Most of the time it's us who do everything. Most of the time it's own initiative, contests, open calls, because like none of us come from a family of architects, or none of us have had any client when we started. So in Spain, when we started, there was a lot of opportunities, a lot of open contests. So it was nice, because even if you didn't have access to clients or a way to get projects, you could like do start a career, no, by doing contests. Or now, after some years, we have started to get clients without doing contests, because when you do, I don't know, you have the opportunity to do something, the client it's happy or not about it, but if it's happy, he will recommend you. Or so it's nice. And also we have tried to diversify a lot. Like we do not only do contests for buildings. We have participated in calls for design thinking sessions to work with enterprises. We have applied to artistic calls. Like we have done like a lot of different things also to open up the field of opportunities, because I don't know, it's not so easy, or it's not so usual like to get construction projects now. Yeah, also with a line of works in which we have recently started to work, which is about refurbishment with, I told you before, with mobile furniture. We did an effort to communicate it as a kind of product service. So we also did a lot of work of spreading it in the media with papers, magazines. So it's nice because it's like the first time that a lot of people have come to us to ask for a project without having to do a specific previous work. No? We work we spent a lot more, some time with the client, like trying to understand what he wants, or what are the expectations, what is the budget, how is the context, like a lot of, and then even if you start with some proposal, it normally changes a lot. You have to be a lot in communication. Most of the time, it's from some specific thing to do. Like we have done some self-initiative projects, or we have taken the opportunity of a project to work on a place that we were interested by, for example. But small things like, I don't know, some time ago we got a small thing to work on the graphic design of a sign for a conference cycle in Madrid. So instead of doing just graphic design, we built a physical sign in cardboard and we put it out in the street. Because like we were interested in seeing what happened when you do the graphic design this way, or when you do an action, or other time with a contest that we lost about designing. It was about designing a device for a beach. We proposed a shark fin, an artificial shark fin to keep drinks cool in the water. We didn't want, so we decided to do it anyhow in Madrid. We went, I know, but small things like that. I mean, when there's something that we find interesting and it's like we can do it easily, like we try to do it. Well, it depends. It's true that we do a lot of dossiers. Like we try to always make like a kind of story of the project. Most of the time to tell it. But this is mostly to get new projects. But in a project in itself, I don't know, for construction it's like plans, or you do a presentation, you do a model, like we use regular documents. But sometimes, I don't know, for example, we have sometimes collaborated with enterprises, not for construction, but for example, for developing ideas about their business or about what they do with their activities. So in these cases, we do like specific things, like for example, we prepare sessions in which we do a kind of game to think with them about the design of their service or things like that. I don't know, we have tried a lot of formats, not only like plans or views or models. Sometimes it depends on the context of the project. If you're working with, I don't know, a particular client for his house, or if you are working for an enterprise, or if you are doing something for a university. We also do some reflection sometimes on how to present it. We have had some experience of construction with non-specialized workers, for example. Like 2 years ago in Venezuela, we did a project with a community of in a neighborhood in Caracas. And the project was supposed to be constructed by some youngsters of the community, like 20 people. And they had never worked in construction before. So what we did, we talked a lot. Like we did like 3-4 weeks of doing models with them, doing like sessions. Like we sometimes plan like dynamics to make, I don't know, to try to involve people, no, to say what they think, what they want. Then we try to gather that and give it a shape or a way to construct it. And in this case, as they were non-specialized, we tried to work with very simple construction system, something to be done working just near the place where it was constructed with not very big machines. And then, but that was like a very specific context and project. Otherwise, if it's like a regular construction project, it's like we always try to define a lot the project, like because you have to work with contractors, you have a budget, and I mean you have to have a lot of everything has to be as much closed as possible, no? Because if there is things that are not defined, then something changes, the budget changes, there are problems. So with this kind of projects, most of the time it's about money, about keeping the things under control, with trying to make everything as defined as possible, no? That there is no things that you don't know how they are exactly, because so we communicate with plans, with small schemes, construction details, but it was nice because it was kind of laboratory. Like we could do trials. For example, we proposed a first system, so we tried to systematize it, no? To do a first one, try to optimize, and then it was very important to organize who does every part of the process. No? It was like simple operations, but it was also about learning to use the machines, but also learning to organize. No? Because you also do it was nice because it was a way to do a group. No? Because you know that this person does that, and then you take it and do this. So it was a lot about organization also, which was also difficult because they were not used to work in groups or to do systematic things or things like that. So, but it's always about talking a lot and trying to make things as clear as possible, following the process all the time.